Welcome back to the Outreach Project family. This is Josh.
This is Zach.
I'm Garrett.
What's up, Garrett?
How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Wow.
Thanks for having me.
Are you honored?
I am. Yeah. This is like what you said maybe
This will be like episode
We're
10.
probably 10th recorded.
Yeah.
Give
10th
or take
uploaded.
Posted.
Right.
We'll see.
Pending, yeah.
Depending on how fast I get on editing.
Yeah. Work on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we know you? Why are you here?
How do I know you guys? Well, we go to the same church. We go to First Church.
Yep.
We've been youth volunteers for
This is
a year and a half.
Yeah, I've been about 2.5 years. So
Okay.
we've been volunteering together for a year and a half.
and you were a leader when we were a student.
Yeah, I
so-
think your guys' senior year.
Yeah.
I was a leader.
Athletic
I
trainer.
work at Columbia State High School as one of the athletic trainers. So
Nice.
your guys' senior year, because you guys graduated, 21?
Yep.
That would have been my first year.
Really?
Yeah.
So I started in 2020, so you guys were the first senior class that went through. So that's where I got to know you guys as well. And then the next year you guys started volunteering. So,
Yeah. You started pickleballing together.
we did.
Big
Volunteering.
pickleball guy over here.
That's right.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about pickleball?
That's a good question. Well, I think, honestly, the community that you can be a part of, right? When I first started playing, it was at the Y with the older people, right? Nothing wrong with them. Good group of people.
We love the older people in the
Right.
community.
Very nice.
They are,
I love them.
very
The-
good.
The pickleball community in Columbia City is astoundingly
It
great.
is.
I think it's
And-
just a good community in general.
Right. But then once I started, talking about with you guys and some other students and throughout the youth group, it interest grew, and we started going out after youth group to the
Yep.
courts some Sunday nights and playing, and then in the summer.
Summer it
yeah.
grew. Because
Yeah.
Addie and I played in a tournament, like our
You did.
second time ever
Yeah.
playing.
Right.
I had a dream that night, actually, that we won the tournament, came
Wow.
back big time,
Yeah.
and then I went on to be a professional.
Okay.
I played a tournament with Drew and we lost both of our games.
Again, that's all right.
That's why I retired.
Addie and I have won one tournament game together.
Okay.
The whole tournament or just one singular
one game.
One game
in the
within the tournament.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. But hey,
Yeah.
again, there's some good teams there.
Very good teams. People come from Fort Wayne.
I remember specifically. So this was Drew and Zach were playing, right? And again, a mix of people were there, right? And this one guy, I remember, I don't know who it was, somebody from Fort Wayne or out of town, was a little upset that he was going to have to play against two teenage boys. It's like, what is this?
It was a mixed tournament, so it was supposed to be a guy and a girl on teams. And
Right.
We didn't know that.
And Drew and Zach suck.
They were new to pickleball
They let us sign up
because it was kind of late. Yeah, later.
Yeah, they
notice.
just let us sign up and tell the rest of the
Yeah,
story.
this guy was upset. He's and it's it'll be all right, man. Let's just play the game first. You haven't even started playing yet, and this guy's already complaining about going against two high school kids. This isn't fair. And then I think the result.
We got beat 15. We got beat 15-2 maybe.
Right.
It was ridiculous.
But all to say, yeah, that's a great aspect of pickleball that
Community.
that I really enjoy.
Sometimes the community can be intense, but
And you get intense in the games, right?
yeah, me and you, sometimes we get mad.
I gotta calm me down a little bit.
Yeah, and I
Get
appreciate
intense.
you for
But
that.
then once the game's over,
We can laugh.
Usually leave it on the court.
Sometimes.
Right.
Not every night.
Most time though. The other nice thing about pickleball is I think tennis is super you have to be really skilled and a lot of experience. Where pickleball you can pick it up fairly easy, at least to be able to play a game.
Yeah.
To be really good, you have to put in the time, just like any other thing. But you can pick it up fairly quickly and then actually play a game. You don't have to be
Everyone
the best
can
player,
play it.
right? Yep.
Yeah. Who got you into it? Your dad?
Actually, my grandpa. So my grandpa had played at the Y. I can't remember how he got into it. He would go there to work out in the mornings, and then somebody probably convinced him to play pickleball. And one morning I was in there working out or had come through, and he was playing, and I decided to join him and play. And then actually I was, him and I were the ones that got my dad and the rest of our family involved in pickleball. But yeah, it's cool that I was able to do that with him kind of in the summers or on because I was still in college, so I would come home for some breaks like spring break or fall break, and we would go in and play. So it was kind of cool to be able to do that with him and then go out to eat after for lunch and stuff. So yeah, really that's who got me into it, and then from there, kind of the rest of the family joined in.
Then they built the outdoor courts, and you
Yep.
lead the email list.
Well, I haven't sent an email in a while, but
I've noticed.
I was in charge. Yeah, so there's a lady that had started it, and she ran it well, but then she moved down to Florida, so they're looking for someone to take it over, and I was doing well for a while.
Prime pickleball state.
Oh, yeah.
Play all year round.
Big time.
Big time.
That's the big leagues.
My parents just got back from Florida. They were in there for the whole month of February, and you can believe that my dad played about every day, sometimes even twice a day.
Yeah.
And I went down for a week a couple weeks ago, and I didn't play as much as he did, but you can definitely play a lot of pickleball down there.
Were you a bit rusty?
A bit rusty, but not, I did all right.
Season's coming up. I'm
excited.
ready.
They got the nets up.
Really?
I was really surprised.
Wow.
Showtime.
I mean,
Let's go.
The forecast is not looking good for pickleball,
We
but
can play in the snow.
No.
but at least they're up. So, who knows? We get a nice day coming up in the next few days. Or
I'm
week.
coming out of retirement.
I think you should.
I got mad one time, retired. Went to golf. It's past me.
It's in the past. You can still play
MJ
golf.
retired.
Came back.
Yeah. He's not the GOAT, but
We'll
We don't need to talk
Yeah.
about that.
no one's here for your
I
sports.
don't think I'm going to unretire from pickleball. I'll stick to golf this year.
That's all right. I respect that.
It's a personal decision.
Exactly. You
can make
that for
your own.
yourself. Yep.
Yeah. So Garrett, tell us a little about you, more than just pickleball. What do you like to do?
Yeah.
Do for fun?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Columbia City. I've lived here my whole life, other than a few stints at college. But, yeah, grew up here. My family's basically from here as well, so I got a lot of family in the area. So growing up, having family close by was something that was common and normal, and I really enjoyed. I went to a smaller church north of Columbia City for most of my childhood and into middle school. Again, it was great. Most of my family went there. Then some things went on at that church with some leadership changes that we felt like it was time for us to look for another church. So my freshman year of high school, we started coming to First Church.
That's kind of a fresh time to start.
Yeah. Yep. Again, I knew a lot of people at First Church, and we knew a lot of people anyway, so it was just kind of about making that transition. But so family's a big part of my life and continues to be today. Grew up playing sports and whatnot, so did that through middle school and high school. Enjoy hanging out with friends and doing things together. Pickleball, obviously one of them, but not
exclusive.
Right. I enjoy bowling. I don't play that often. I think Zach and I went a couple of times.
I've been bowling with Garrett.
Yeah. Again, not the greatest at it, but it's fun to play with friends. Enjoy watching sports, watching movies. Not a big video game guy. I never really got into it, so
that's okay.
Can't really connect with people on that, but yeah.
A lot of your friends play video games.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I want to hear about your college experience.
Yeah,
you said a few stints.
Not like the specific, what college meant to you, but where did you go? Take us through the trail of Garrett's college.
Yep. So that is interesting. Yeah. So probably my junior, senior year of high school, I figured out that I wanted to be an athletic trainer and go into that.
What made you think that?
So actually, the first career that I really remember wanting to do was like a chef or like a baker, really in middle school. Yeah. And honestly, freshman, sophomore year, I took nutrition wellness and then advanced nutrition wellness the next year.
Garrett whipping up some.
I got a question.
Right. Yeah.
Have you always been a grandpa?
Wow. No, I haven't. Maybe, I don't know. But that I don't think, even when I got in high school, I don't think I really wanted to do that. But that was kind of where the first real career I thought about doing. And then I knew I wanted to work in the medical field some capacity. I thought about physical therapy. But then being in sports most of my life, I enjoyed that as well. So when I learned more about athletic training and how there's the combination of some things that physical therapists do with injury evaluation and rehab, and then you get to be with the team on the sidelines. So that's a really good mix of those two. So probably my junior, senior, I figured that out, and then I wasn't sure where I was going until my senior year of high school. I decided to go to Huntington University, and at the time they didn't, and they still don't. They don't have an undergraduate program in athletic training. So the path that I was going to take was go to Huntington for 3 years in an exercise science program, and then they had a feeder program into Manchester University's athletic training program. So it was like a 5-year, so like a 3-2 program that I was going to get my master's degree when I finished at Manchester. And that was the plan going into my first year at Huntington. I was actually on the track team. I threw for them. I really enjoyed it, met some really good people, really liked the community that was there. I liked that small atmosphere. Was able to work in the athletic training room as like a student assistant and learned a lot about athletic training, doing that, working with some teams, traveling. But actually, in talking with their athletic trainers, they told me that if I really wanted to do athletic training, that I should go somewhere where I could get my undergraduate degree in athletic training. And then just with some financial aid issues that I was going to have the following year, you get some of those freshman year scholarships and grants that don't always apply the following year. And it was going to be quite a bit more for me to go. So hearing what they had to say about athletic training and then kind of knowing financially it wouldn't be the most wise decision, they encouraged me to go to Ball State because they have a really good undergraduate program. And I was planning on going to that the fall of my sophomore year, but because I decided late and classes were kind of already filled up, I wasn't going to get into good classes at Ball State that first semester. So I decided, instead of taking some classes that I probably wouldn't have needed and kind of wasted a semester, I decided to stay at home and go to IPFW and take a few classes that I knew were going to transfer in to Ball State. So then that sophomore year or the spring of 2015, I enrolled at Ball State and started there, and got accepted in their program the next fall and worked through that. Had some really great experiences. I was able to work for the Indianapolis Colts as an athletic training student intern in the summer of my junior and senior year. That was a great
both summers?
Between my junior and senior year. So
didn't you meet Quentin Nelson?
Actually, he came in the year after. I met Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton and Frank Gore, like some really cool
awesome
guys.
Can you say your lunch story?
That's fine. So throughout, we got there like right when the summer started. So the rookie minicamp is like the first thing that happened. So we worked through that. Some of the veterans are there, but they don't have to be there from anything mandatory at that time. So after rookie minicamp and before the veterans and everybody else had to come back before training camp, there's a few weeks where athletes could go home and do some training with the people that they're familiar with. So the facility there in Indianapolis kind of shuts down in some way. Like the kitchen staff leaves, a lot of the front office people are in and out, but like the athletic training staff and the equipment staff were there basically every day working with those athletes that are doing rehab and whatnot. So what typically would happen would be one of the athletes would sponsor a day or the lunch for the day, and then one of us interns would gather the order, and then we would go out and pick it up. So one experience in particular, it was Andrew Luck's turn to sponsor, and we were getting, I think he really liked Chipotle, and that was kind of a common theme. So we went around and got everybody's order, and I was going to go pick it up. Well, he was going to pay for it, so he just said, hey, go in my locker, in my wallet, there's my debit card, just go ahead and take that and go pick it up. So it's like, I think he had just signed like that, like his huge deal.
He was fine.
He's rolling it.
He was fine.
So this Chipotle order was nothing for him. But knowing that I had his card, I'm like, oh, this is kind of responsibility. And when I get to Chipotle to pick it up, I tried to run it as credit or no debit, but obviously I didn't have his PIN, so they just gave me the receipt to sign. So I just kind of like scribbled a little bit. The guy didn't even look, but just handed it back and took the Chipotle order and put his card back in his wallet and. Yeah.
And you said you've taped up Andrew Luck too.
I'm not so much taped him, but I did do some rehab with him because the athletic training staff at the Colts were really cool about, as long as they felt comfortable with us interns working on the athletes or taping the athletes, and the athletes felt comfortable as well, we could basically do almost anything. So there were a lot of times that we were involved in the rehab, taping guys before practice. Now, if like an injury happened on the field, like we could be there beside the athletic trainers, but everything kind of has to go through everything goes through the head athletic trainer anyway. So, but just being able to have that, ability to basically, if the athletes are comfortable, getting to know them and then building a relationship with them. It was actually one instance I remember doing rehab with one of the guys, and then people were getting taped before practice, and Anthony Costanzo, the left tackle for the Colts, like specifically like, hey, Garrett, can you come over and tape my wrist real quick? Like I was like working with a guy on something else, and he like, hey, must have just liked the way that I taped his wrist. So it's kind of cool. You build relationships with.
I mean, I had my wrist taped by you during football, and you did a good job. So
I appreciate.
You're not that. Anthony Costanzo.
That's true.
But yeah, so that was cool. So I did that between my junior and senior year, then came back and finished out at Ball State. And I was kind of debating on, what to do next. do I get my master's degree? Do I just try to, come back home and look for jobs in the Fort Wayne, Columbia City area? And so I decided to get to look to go to grad school to get my master's, because obviously, the master's degree is, you get the advanced degree with that, but at the same time, I was able to be a graduate assistant athletic trainer. So when I graduated from Ball State, after I passed my certification exam, I was able to practice as an athletic trainer. So I didn't have to get my master's degree. But
Did you get paid for that?
So I decided to, and then along with the graduate assistant position, you work at either high school, college, wherever in the area, and you get a stipend, and then you get a little bit of money as well, and a tuition waiver. So it was a really good opportunity. So you kind of get that, obviously, the college in the master's level experience, but then to work as well. So then when you go to apply for jobs after college, you can show that you have experience on your resume, as opposed to just coming out of undergrad and not having really anything. So it was really good program that worked out well. And I went to Illinois State for that. So I was at Illinois State for 2 years. And then the spring of 2020 is when I graduated from Illinois State with my master's degree. And that last semester of college, I was in talks with a few people around this area of some job opportunities. And unfortunately, that was right when COVID was hitting. So all the hospitals have either furloughed employees or had stopped that hiring process. So my current boss right now, we were in talks, and he said there's going to be something available, but I don't know for sure right now, just given the circumstances. But if you're going to be around, once that process opens back up, we'll definitely, we'll meet up again. So it was basically I had a job, just wasn't sure where it was going to be at. And then one of the athletic trainers at Columbia City, who was my athletic trainer, he took a position at Carroll High School. So then that opened up the opportunity for me to work at Columbia City. So I was able to get that job, and I started in August of 2020.
Yeah. So you're through OPS, correct?
Yeah, so the Lutheran Hospital, or the orthopedic company, FWO, and then OPS is a kind of branch of the orthopedic hospital. There's a lot of you'll see OPS football, basketball. They do a lot of they have leagues and training and stuff for athletes. But then there's also the sports medicine aspect, in which we're employed by, and then we work with the FWO, or the Fort Wayne Orthopedics doctors. And then we're kind of assigned a school.
They place you.
Right. So, Columbia City right now, we did a contract with 2 athletic trainers. So Lutheran would supply the athletic trainers. They signed a contract with the high school to supply those needs. And then kind of the way the hospital benefits from that is, we can refer, and we can, kind of suggest athletes go see the providers at FWO. And then that's kind of how, it's kind of a win-win for both parties involved. Yeah. So that's in this area, whether it's high school, even colleges, athletic trainers will be employed or contracted through Parkview or Lutheran. That's just the best way that it works out for, even like I said, even some colleges, instead of PFW is one of the few that hire or have some that are hired by the university, but they also have some that are staffed through the hospital.
Okay. That's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then with that, don't you also sub at the high school?
Yeah, so I didn't start that right when I started at the school in the fall of 2020, but it was shortly after. They had a program where there were some subs that were assigned to specific buildings in the district, and Jennifer Reef was the principal at the time, and she had just asked if I'd be interested in doing that. I, again, was kind of on the fence about it, because at that time it would have been it was basically you were showing up every day, you were at the high school, and they were going to give you either a classroom to be in sub for, or if there were other duties that needed to be done, if there wasn't a teacher to sub for, you were doing it. So basically it was I was going to be there every day subbing and then working in the afternoon. So I was let me do this for a week and see how it goes. Because again, getting there, at 8 o'clock, and then sometimes not leaving till
8 o'clock,
or even 9, depending on if we have an event, is obviously a lot. So I did that for a week, and then honestly, I actually decided I didn't want to do it. And then was kind of on the on-call list, but then I was I can do this. So I decided to do that. So I've really been subbing for almost 2.5 years now, or about 2.5 years when we finish up this school year. So yeah, I show basically will look for or sign up for any position that I can, and just stay at the high school and work there throughout the day, and then obviously just transition right into athletic training after school.
Some days you just sit in your office the whole day though.
That's how it used to be. When we didn't have when they had those permanent subs and we had to be in the building and there wasn't something assigned, I could just sit down in my office. But now we transitioned out of that, and now it's like this on-call system where the teacher posts a job to our to the app, and then us subs can pick the job.
What's the job?
Well, like the assignment. So like Mrs. Bechtold would put in, she needs a sub for this day. And then it goes to this app that we all have, and we get notification, Mrs. Bechtold needs a sub. So then basically you kind of have to first come, first serve, whoever signs up for it. But there's a lot of teachers that have scheduled absences that they know of that, we can schedule out. Or if the teacher specifically wants a certain sub, they can put in this sub as long as they don't have an existing job that's conflicting, and then you can get assigned that way. So really, there's been a few days that I haven't had a position, but for the most part, it's usually about at least 4 days a week, if not every day that I'm at the high school.
Yeah, and your presence in the high school athletic training, that kind of helps with your ministry involvement too. Right,
a number of areas that helps. Like obviously, getting to know the athletes and the people that I may end up seeing in the training room or on the court, on the field, that just helps, build the rapport, and you get comfortable with them, and they get comfortable with you. Because if a student doesn't get hurt, or athlete doesn't get hurt, we may not really interact with them much. Like there's a lot of athletes that, had I not been in the building subbing, I may not even really know, because if they're not injured or they don't get hurt, they may not come in for anything. So that helps with that. But then on top of that, working with the high school ministry, like that is a really great opportunity that I get to have to continue to build those relationships with the students that we have now or currently, and then even some students that I'm like, hey, like, have you thought about doing this? Or try to encourage some of our students to reach out to their classmates and encourage them to invite them to.
And you can see it firsthand.
Right. And again, it just really helps, just build those relationships. And then through the relationship, you're able to kind of speak into their life in some way, or even just model by the way that you act and speak. Yeah. And hopefully that they kind of pick up on that, and maybe it leads to questions. And then, from there, it can really be really cool to see where it goes. Yeah.
You want to touch on your high school ministry involvement?
Yeah. So I work with specifically with the sophomore guys, but also with the sophomore girls as well. So there are some female adult leaders, and then there's some of us male leaders. And together we work with the sophomore high school students here at the church. And I've been doing, this is finishing out my second year of that. So we started with them as a freshman class, and then we moved up with them this year as sophomores. So it's been cool to be able to see the growth that those guys have had, from when we first got them as freshmen in the fall to, now they're about to finish their sophomore year. So it's really cool to see, because again, you guys know, middle school is one thing, but freshman year is kind of that transition where some of them are mature, but
freshman year is awkward, man.
Again, there's some that are really great, and depending on how they grew up and their experience that they have themselves, they could be a lot farther along. And then some students, again, they're all over the place. But we had a good group of guys. But when we got into discussion questions and small group time, we actually honestly Micah and I, we started a stopwatch, and like I said, we're going to go for 10 minutes. Like, can we just get your guys' attention for 10 minutes and then try to get into the questions? And then the last 5 or so minutes, we can just kind of hang out. And then we kind of incrementally increase that time to then we're getting the full discussion. And then now, again, just seeing the growth that those guys have had throughout this past year has been really encouraging.
Yeah. Have you seen the group grow in numbers, or?
So I think I would say so. It's interesting because of the structure that we have, where we have some nights here at the church when we're all together with the high school ministry and the middle school, and then the other nights we're in homes of members of our church with just the sophomore class, and that number again varies. We have students that are involved in a lot of different things, and whether it's sports or academics, or they have dance or theater. There's a lot of stuff that, again, buy for the students' time. And again, sometimes we have a good number of kids, and sometimes the number's a little bit down, but consistently we have a solid group that's there. And it's been great to get to know those kids. And then obviously the students that come maybe on a not so regular basis, they still feel welcomed and encouraged as well.
Good. How'd you get into that ministry?
So, I thought about when I graduated, so I went through this youth group, and when I graduated and was at Huntington, I was initially asked by Luke Deal to help with the middle school youth group, just because I was not too far away and still connected with the church. Yeah. I was able to do that, and I did that for a little bit. And then once I, made that transition to Ball State, it wasn't, feasible for me to do that. I would come home, occasionally, but nothing consistently to be able to do that. So really it wasn't until I was, till I graduated from grad school, came back, and then I would say, that fall that I started at the high school, I started with the youth group, and it was more like later in that fall, so almost in the second semester. So really, like I said, it's been about 2.5 years that I've been in the youth group in kind of some capacity. Not the same guys, but in the high school ministry.
Yeah, nice. You want to touch on how you came to know Christ growing up in faith?
Yeah.
Before you get to that, do you have any other ministries you're involved with, like any small groups or anything?
Yeah, so there's a young adult small group.
Whoa. Older young adult.
Not the young adult small group.
No, you're right. I was a part of the young adult group. I was actually one of the founders of that group.
You're a founder of many things.
I was a founder of the
launch team.
The launch team that we started with just a guys group that kind of grew to launch team. And then, we kind of founded the young adult group when I was in college. So it's been really cool to see that ministry just continue to grow, right? And then obviously because of that and through that, you guys are able to do this. So that's really cool to see. Mm-hmm. So this, I would say, again, there are some age ranges in that group, but we're at the top end of your guys' age bracket, right? And then there's some that are closer to 30 or in their 30s. So again, young adults, and there's some married couples. There's some of us that are single, but we've grown. We've kind of been growing together for the last. I think I've been going to it for over a year now, and I think that group was. Probably, I don't know if they've been a year before that or not, but it's been going consistently for quite a while. And we meet on Wednesday nights, and when we rotate, different people will host, and then we share a meal together, and then we get into scripture, and that's really been cool to get to know the people in that group better. There are some that I'm closer with and serve with in the high school ministry here at the church, and then there's some that don't go to our church, but I've gotten connected with and have gotten to know really well. And then there's just, again, people that go to our church that may not serve in the ministry, youth ministry, but we're able to connect at church too. So we meet every Wednesday night, and that's really been cool to see just the growth that we've had. And we just basically we pick a book of the Bible and we just get into it and dig into it. And a new person, there's like a set few people that will lead, and we all have this open discussion and just try to get into God's word and just see, what can we take from this? How can we grow from this and learn from this? And it's been really cool to see.
Do you have to sign up for that, or how do you get involved with that?
Yeah, so because it's not formally connected with the church, there probably isn't technically a way to sign up for it. But if you're interested, you could reach out to me. Obviously, we have other ministries in the church that if they didn't necessarily feel like they fit there's a young couples or a married couples group that meets on Sunday mornings as well. And I know some of those couples go to that group as well. Obviously, if they might feel more connected to your guys' group, obviously you guys have that. They meet on Sunday mornings as well. So
and Wednesday night.
Yep. So I think there's a growing number of opportunities for, that range of students out of high school. And then even as early as the early 30s, right? Like there's a few ministries in those age ranges. So I think it's cool because, you'll talk to most people, they'll say like that's the age where, it's hardest to either to reach or to keep those groups connected to the church. So I think it's really cool that we have multiple areas where those people in those age ranges can be a part of.
Yeah, and it's open invitation to all of it.
Yeah,
we invite as well. So.
Right. Yep. And we've even seen some increase in our numbers recently with new people joining. So it's been cool to see that. Even though we've been doing it for a little while, people are still good. Involved and wanting to be involved, a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back to you coming to faith.
Yep. So like I said, I grew up in the church. Really as early as I can remember. My family went to Big Lake Church of God, which is a church north of Columbia City, and my dad and his family grew up in that church. So like my grandpa, I'd have to ask, but like potentially he may have even in some way had grown up in that church or early in his life. So there's a lot of our family had been going to that church for a while. And so that's really, again, as early as I can remember, I was involved, with children's ministry and then transitioned to youth ministry and didn't quite get into high school. But again, throughout that time I was involved. And I remember specifically, I think I was around like 8 or 9 years old. One of my friends' dad was the pastor at the time, and he was preaching, and he was speaking about, inviting God into your heart or welcoming him home. And I just remember like thinking that was something I wanted to do. And like, I remember like asking my mom, like, cause he had an altar call, like, if anyone wanted to come to the altar. And I remember asking my mom, like, are you going to go up? And like, she was already a believer, and like, she wasn't going to, but then I think she asked me like if I was thinking about it, and I said, yeah. So like we went up and did that. And then shortly after that, I was baptized,
at Big Lake.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think again, at an early age, like I came to know Christ. And again, I would say I was involved, for the rest of the children's ministries and then into youth ministry, but I definitely don't think that it was, I don't think I took the ownership, of my faith at that stage, of my life. Again, I was still involved and did everything, but, kind of the ownership part, I don't think came till later. And even transitioning into high school, again, same thing. I was involved in that. And, after coming back from a mission trip, my sophomore year into junior year, we started that guys small group that would meet every week. And, through that, we would study the word and get into that, and grow in that. Still, again, kind of, there, and I was active in it, but again, still like, am I able to sustain this or do this outside of the scheduled programs that I had or the scheduled things that were available to me? That was kind of still that process I was in. And I would say even into college, I think that's kind of where it became real, because like when you get to college, those things aren't as readily available for you as they are in high school with youth group, right? Like if you want to get involved in a young adult group or a church, you have to go out and seek and find that. And I went to church through college, and
even when you lived away,
right?
Okay.
I found a church. Actually, when I went to Illinois State, there was a church that was like just down the road from the apartment that I was staying in, so that was really cool. Got to know some people there pretty well. I was just talking with, I think actually last night at our small group with the students, I was talking about how I had that available to me with that church, but I found myself at times deciding to hang out with the kids that were in my master's program at Illinois State as opposed to hanging out with those kids, whether it be like going out for food or bowling or whatever. And I was telling the students last night that I regret not doing that enough, growing and developing those relationships with the students or the young adults at the church I was at. And that's kind of something that I kind of battled through college was, I was involved, but like not super involved. Like I didn't want to like say no to the people that I had classes with and got to know really well and good people. And I still keep in contact with them today. But I had an opportunity to be poured into by the group at the church. And I didn't take advantage of those opportunities as often as I should have. And even to this day, I can kind of see like how early on in my faith and then through high school, like because I didn't maybe take it as seriously enough, I'm kind of like trying to build that momentum and kind of make up, for lack of better words, like for lost times in a way of like, getting into scripture on a consistent basis. Like that's something I still struggle with because I just didn't do it as often. So like, people like Micah and Dave, like they really have been encouraging me to get into scripture. And that's what we're trying to do with the guys that we're with, because again, that was something that looking back, I wish I would have had better established, because then now it's like, I'm trying to make this a habit where if I would have been doing it for longer, it would be something that comes a little bit more natural to me. And again, I'm still in that process of doing it, but it's been cool to see through this small group that I'm a part of on Wednesday nights, the people there are encouraging me to do that as well. And we get in it together. So that makes, the the process a lot smoother, and it's helpful.
Yeah. What are you guys digging in right now in that group?
So actually, we just finished going through the book of Nehemiah, and then last week, I wasn't able to be there because of some conflicts that came up at work, and I didn't get off work till pretty late. But that night, the group was going through. Basically, we're just going to have like a prayer time of like prayer, and if there was something that you felt God was laying on us as a group to go, like a direction or a book to read or a topic within the Bible to go over, bring those as well. And then we're going to pray over that and then pray for each other. Because we did this it's been probably, I can't remember how long ago it's been that we did something like that where we had just finished a book and we were kind of in a transition. So we decided to kind of bring some ideas, but then also it was cool. We put a chair in the middle of the room, and each person, or sometimes the couple, would go up together, and then we would all just, first we would ask if there's something specifically that needed to be prayed over for that person or for the couple, and then we would go around, and then people would just pray over that person for the need that they were, presenting. And I'm pretty sure they did that on Wednesday as well. So that was really, and again, it's cool that we have those times as well. And so I think this next week we're still brainstorming which book to get into and which area to tackle. So I think we'll probably get that figured out on Wednesday, and then from there we'll just kind of go like, usually it's like chapter by chapter, get into, and some chapters are longer and others are short, maybe able to get to a few more. But that's typically kind of the process that we go through.
Good.
What are some ways you've seen God work as of recently, or even earlier in your life, just ways you've seen God work?
Yeah, I would say early in my life, I think just bringing people into my life that could speak into me, right? Like role models or mentors in a way. There was an older couple at Big Lake that we'd have Sunday school with, and they, again, we got into the Word with them, and they really encouraged that, and that was really cool to see. And then through high school, there were different leaders and people that, again, like Luke being one that like intentionally wanted to pour into some of us guys through that small group. And then, I would say Jeremy Marine, definitely through that young adult group that we started. Again, and Jeremy specifically, just growing in our relationship together. Kind of through that time in my life where I wasn't as connected to the church because I was, over in Illinois for college, but then still feeling connected when I would come home or, through conversations over the phone or text. Yeah. So that's really cool to see. And I would say recently, I think just that group that we have on Wednesday nights, like, some of those guys specifically, just kind of pouring into each other. And then, we're with Jeff Sikafus on Sunday evenings, as well. So, again, he's got a lot of knowledge and wisdom and experience. Yeah. So learning from him as well. Jim Sittler. I tell students I regret not going to his Bible study as often in high school when it was available, because he had a Bible study that met outside of Sunday as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to it, but it wasn't something that I made a priority. I feel like in high school there was a lot of things I was involved in, and it's one of those things where you're just too involved. Like I was involved in campus life some, and FCA and youth group and that Bible study. So like I wish I wouldn't have maybe been involved in so much, because then you could go deeper in some of those areas. But I tell the students that on Sunday morning, because Jim kind of leads our Sunday morning ministry for the youth group, and I tell the students again, take advantage of this opportunity that you guys have to learn from Jim, because he has a lot of knowledge. And Kevin Jordan's another adult volunteer that is on Sunday mornings. And then Valerie Geip just recently joined us. So it's really cool to have those leaders to work with on Sunday morning as well.
You work with them?
Yep. So on Sunday mornings, the whole high school ministry is together, and we meet the first hour, and we just have been going through the Bible as well. So seeing those students on Sunday morning, and then specifically the sophomores on Sunday night, has been really cool. But yeah, I think definitely those guys in the small group that I'm a part of on Wednesdays have really tried to pour into me recently. I said within like the last year or so since I've been going. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, and some of those guys who just moved here too.
Right. Yeah, I tell some of the people I've been in conversations with that, you know, those guys have kind of opened my eyes up to like, hey, like, you know, these are some habits I think that you need to start forming, and just kind of seeing their behavior and their like reverence for Scripture and how, you know, the knowledge that they've grown from it. You know, it's like, man, like that's kind of the goal that I want to attain. So kind of seeing those guys in where they're at, and they've, you know, encouraged me to continue in that as well. So it's been really cool. Good.
What else you got going on? Anything? Winter retreat coming up?
Yeah, this weekend we're leaving. Excited about that. We got quite a few students going.
How many do we got? I've heard like 130.
Maybe not quite that many. I would say probably like close to 120, maybe with adults. We're pushing that number.
You know, by the time this comes out, the winter retreat will be over.
You're right.
It will be.
Wow.
Yeah.
So everyone listening will be like, you guys are idiots.
Like, that already happened. But yeah, I'm excited about that. That'll be fun.
Our first time putting it on ourselves.
Right. Like, we're going to Gull Lake Ministry and using their facilities, but yeah, we're bringing the worship team. Rob's delivering the message. And then
some cool guys are doing the games.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Who's that?
You'll see.
I heard they're not that cool, but
well, some of them are.
Oh my gosh!
Maybe one of them at the end of the table, but
I don't know. The middle guys, pretty cool. But yeah, so we're going to be kind of basically using their facilities, but then putting together our own
material.
Yeah, on our own weekend. So I think
that'd be interesting.
Cool. I'm excited. I think there's some really good high school and middle school students going. Like, again, really. Great opportunity for them. I know some students, actually, there's a few students in the high school ministry that are going to the retreat that I don't even know if they've ever come to our youth group before.
Yeah,
like there's
some seventh graders like that. I was getting a list last night. I knew like 6 of the kids, and the other 6 I had no idea who they were.
I love that,
which is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for it.
And you know, that's probably mostly because the students themselves have invited. Their friends.
That's really cool.
You know, some of us, like myself and some of the other leaders, are involved in the school in some way and can invite students, but it's really impactful when the students are the ones that invite them.
Last night, I'll say a name, I'm proud of him, Riley Baxter. You know him? He invited 2 of his friends.
Yeah.
We talked about belonging, and we asked them, where do you belong? And they said, here. It's like their first night. It was cool. One of them prayed at the end.
Right.
It's really cool. Proud of you, Riley. You're not listening, but... maybe someone will show you. And
right. Yeah.
God worked through him. That was cool.
Exactly. That's what, you know, that's kind of the goal, is that, you know, we can present and we can, you know, advertise, so to speak, for the youth group. But when the students are the ones that take ownership of it, and, you know, even in middle school, right? Like, it's not just like the seniors in the upperclassmen in high school, but like the middle school are also doing that as well. It's cool to see, you know, what's next as a result of that.
Yeah. So our time's coming up quickly.
Okay.
Our time's passed, but
we're good.
Flies.
We're good.
It's always I like long episodes. It's fun.
I don't like editing them.
We'll get there on this one.
Sorry about that.
Have you seen a full episode?
Not a full episode.
So you don't know the closing question.
Uh-oh.
All right.
I like this.
Let's ask it. You ask it, Zach.
So, what is your dream vacation? Like, you get one last vacation. No, like, major
no monetary limitation.
Yeah, no monetary limitation. We limit to like a month because you could literally just move somewhere and call that a vacation.
Yeah.
But, and then the only thing we ask is, like, you can't, like, travel the whole world. You, like, got to go to, like, one region and stay there.
Who are you bringing? What are you doing? Where are you going?
That's a tough one, because there are places, like, not only in the U.S. but outside, that I would like to go, and probably would say that would be a place that I would want to go to. But at the same time, I haven't experienced it, so, you know, there are some great places that I have experienced that would be cool to go to. But I've wanted to go. And I know you said not a general area, but like out west. Like, I've never been to like the Rocky Mountains. I know like Jeremy Marine took a trip out there where they went, you know, in that area, and, you know, seeing some of the national parks and just seeing like that side of the country. I would say I've stayed in like the Midwest and South, and I've even been up in the Northeast, but haven't really been out west, past like Iowa and so going out to there. I've always wanted to go to the Redwood Forest. Like when I was a kid, like
yeah,
I think that'd be really cool to go to. Seeing like up in Oregon and Washington, but I would probably say like through the Rocky Mountains and through through that region, I think would be really cool. But then like you can't be going to Florida for like a month and playing pickleball every day too. So,
dude, you would love that.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You could go and play pickleball with new people over in Oregon.
You could bring a pickleball ministry to out west.
Actually, now that you say that, not out west, but I was talking with some students at school through passing period last week, and they are tennis players, and they play pickleball with us sometimes because after youth group. But
yeah,
they've jokingly asked or said that I should start like a pickleball club at the high school. I said, yeah, that would be fun, but then they said, well, what if you do it like after youth group? Like you could have this thing where you bring a bunch of the youth group kids after Sunday night out over to the courts, and then we can invite our friends. I'm like, that's a really cool opportunity to do, and we kind of already do that, but to build upon that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be neat. We need a few more courts. We make that happen.
Aren't they building more courts?
I've heard, but rumors, but I'm not holding my breath.
Mr. Daniel, if you're listening to this, we would love a meeting with you.
Dude, I don't think the mayor's listening.
We would. Just know there's a lot of people interested in pickleball, and I'm hoping that they build some more courts.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're going out west. Who are you bringing?
That's a good question. I probably would have this. I don't know. Like I said, family's really close with me, but then there's some cool guys that I've gotten to know, like I said, through that small group. So I don't know. I would say maybe those guys, because I've never really experienced anything like that with them.
Okay.
I've heard of some of those guys in our group have gone on a trip together.
Costa Rica?
Yeah. So like that was kind of cool. That was pretty cool. So I would say probably going with those guys again, just like, just hanging out in that aspect.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. You got any closing thoughts, Garrett?
I just appreciate you guys asking me to be a part of this.
Any questions for us?
What experience did you guys have with podcasts or this type of stuff prior to doing this?
Absolutely none.
We went to Passion,
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this enough, but we've heard a guy named JP, started listening to his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just I want to fill heaven, man. And I think this is a unique way of spreading the gospel, spreading his love, sharing community. So just getting to know people and letting whoever views get to know them was my vision. Zach has a similar vision.
Yeah. Are you talking like production-wise or like vision-wise?
I mean, I think both. I'm not surprised the vision that you guys have for something like this, right? Whether it's podcast or whatever. But I would say like specifically production and
nothing.
And that stuff.
I mean, technically I did some like stuff in high school with like video, like really basic.
You guys did some of that for
record something
classes.
on my phone, throw it on a Wii video and put like my name on the thing and like stupid animations or something.
I had a TikTok phase, but
we did.
I remember.
He had an individual TikTok phase.
That TikTok is down. No one can view that. Sorry, folks.
We had a golf TikTok phase. We tried to do golf TikTok.
There were some good videos on that.
But aside from that, no, there wasn't.
I think I followed it.
No, but we had to go to Sweetwater and we talked to Quentin. Shout out Quentin.
He's got a podcast. I forget what it's called, but he's got a podcast.
Yeah, but we learned.
And we talked to that other guy, Pulse.
Tyler Pulse. He's a rapper.
Fort Wayne
works
rapper.
at Sweetwater.
Okay, wow.
But yeah, we
Fun
learned.
fact before you go on, I actually, when I graduated from grad school in 2020, before I started at the high school, I actually worked at Sweetwater because I just worked in their big new warehouse because again with COVID and like they were like booming because of everything going online, and they just built that new warehouse, and because I just for the next 3 or so months, you just need the income. And so I worked in the warehouse and actually got moved to third shift and eventually became an equipment driver. So I would drive this big not a forklift, but a lift truck where I would lift up with a pallet and go onto the shelves, pull the amp, pull the guitars, pull the piano. So that was kind of cool.
Did you meet Surak?
I don't think I did.
No, you would know if you met him.
No. Oh, yeah, no. We watched some videos about him, but no.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sweetwater's a really cool place, really good people there.
Yeah, but we just...
But we had no...
Our first episode, we met with Elijah. He gave us a little mic. We put it in a plastic cup underneath the couch. Horrible quality.
Yeah.
Propped up our phone on some Bibles. Sat
That
on the
video,
couch.
Awful. But we got to leave it up there.
It's like the
about the journey,
to
you know?
Exactly.
To the thing.
It's about the journey. We don't care about that stuff. But
Right. And now look where we're at.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Jeremy, for
for real.
helping us out with this.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hooked us up.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really cool to see your guys' vision and just the platform that you guys have available now through this to be able to really do some good work and bring some guests on and through their experience and your guys' experience be able to reach your viewers and hopefully continue to reach people.
We're hoping to get like Rob on, some pastors.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're planning some things maybe with Kale.
Cool.
Going out there, going out to see
trips.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go over to Illinois to see Jordan and Ohio to see Kale at some point.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
take the equipment.
I've heard some good
videos.
there's a lot of good things going on both at Kale's church and Jordan church.
Yeah, because we're not just trying to push a First Church agenda by any means. We've had people on that haven't attended. We're just trying to build Christian community.
Right.
The big C church, not individual churches.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of this, man.
Yeah, it was
Appreciate
really
Thanks
it.
for having me.
It's really cool to learn some stuff about you.
Yeah.
Where can people reach you if they want to get connected to groups? Just comment and we'll hook them up.
Yeah, one way is always
we can do that.
One way is always to DM us or comment or email us, and we can get the information out or anything like that.
A Facebook and Instagram account.
We'll
I don't really interact much on that.
We'll definitely link the Facebook.
We can link your Facebook.
Yeah. Well, it depends on which demographic you want to reach.
We're not linking to Facebook, Garrett.
No, we want to reach everyone.
You can just if they have questions, they can reach you guys, and then
we'll get you guys hooked up. And
cool guy. Come join any of the groups. We have many age groups here that Garrett's been really influenced through the group. It's good for everyone. So yeah. If you guys have listened, thank you. It's been a long episode, but it's good. I enjoyed it. We will see you next time on the Outreach Project. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.